Hello, how are you? Many people make some mistakes when taking a shower, something we do every day, sometimes more than once a day, that can put our health at risk and can even increase the risk of heart attack and stroke. And if you're over 50 and have these habits, if you tend to do these things in your daily life, it's even more serious. I'm going to tell you what these things are. Pay close attention, and the last one is very concerning, so stay until the end because you won't want to miss it. Before we start, I want to ask you if you take more than one shower a day, what time of day you usually shower, and what temperature your shower is. How many minutes do you spend in the shower? Write a little for me down here in the comments and tell me how old you are. I'd love to see your comment. Also, don't forget to leave your like here on the video. This is very important, not just for this video specifically, but actually for the whole channel. It shows YouTube that you support and trust my content, and that's super important to me. During our shower, which seems like such a simple thing, right? That we do every day, at least once a day, I hope so. There are people who take 1, 2, even 3 showers depending on how hot it is or whether they exercised or not. But every day we shower, it seems like such a routine thing, but there are some things we need to be careful about, especially when we're 50 or older, because they can actually put our lives at risk. One thing that happens a lot is related to the water temperature, right? Some things about our bodies change as we get older. When hot water touches our skin, our blood vessels dilate quickly. That's great, right? Because it relaxes the muscles. We say things like, oh, I'm so stressed. I spent a long time in traffic. I got upset today. I'm going to take a really hot shower to relax. But besides relaxing the muscles, this also causes our blood pressure to drop. When we're younger, our bodies can compensate for this more quickly. But after 50 or 60, the arteries end up getting stiffer and the autonomic nervous system that regulates blood pressure responds a bit more slowly. So blood pressure can drop very abruptly within a few minutes, which in some elderly people can cause dizziness, fainting, also known as syncope to use a fancier term, and even a decrease in cerebral perfusion, meaning less blood flow to your brain. That's why the risk of stroke increases. That's why it's risky. The opposite is also true, isn't it? When the body is exposed to very cold water, the blood vessels contract very abruptly, blood pressure rises, and the risk of a small blood vessel in the brain bursting increases. And especially if you already have hypertension, if you already have diagnosed atherosclerosis, or if you use certain medications. So let's talk about these mistakes that many people make and how you can avoid having these problems in your daily life, in your shower, every day. The first mistake then, as you've already noticed, is water that's too hot and a shower that lasts too long. After the age of 60, ideally, our water temperature should be around 97 degrees Fahrenheit, 36 degrees Celsius. That is the temperature of our skin, a more physiological temperature. So, a lukewarm shower, right? When the shower is already above 104 degrees Fahrenheit, 40 degrees Celsius, the water hurts our skin, the skin comes out red from the shower, the skin feels it, right? There is a risk of excessive vasodilation, a drop in blood pressure, and as I mentioned before, even fainting in the bathroom. There are Japanese studies that have shown that thousands of hospitalizations due to sudden illness during bathing are related to very hot water and excessively long showers. People who spend more than 20 or 30 minutes in the shower. Do you know anyone who spends that much time in the shower? The problem isn't the shower itself. Just to make that very clear, everyone needs to shower and keep themselves clean every day, but the amount of time you spend in the shower and the temperature of your water can be dangerous for you. The second mistake is the time of day you take your shower. So, if you shower right after eating or after taking certain types of medication, it can make your blood pressure worse. Because after you eat, the body redirects blood, right? Part of the blood, of course, goes to our digestive system. And that's because the organs in the digestive system have a lot to do, don't they? They have to break down the food, absorb the nutrients, release enzymes, hormones. So the digestive system ends up being very well supplied with blood. This is called postprandial hypotension, and it's completely physiological. It's more common for this to happen in elderly people. And if at that moment the person goes and takes a hot shower, what happens? The blood will move even more toward the skin because of this vasodilation, and the brain receives even less oxygen and nutrients. So once again, dizziness, weakness, and fainting can happen to older people. This also happens to people who have just taken antihypertensive or diuretic medication. The medication already lowers blood pressure. So if you take these medications and then go take a shower, you might end up feeling unwell in the bathroom. So normally you can wait an hour and a half, up to 2 hours, depending on the type of medication, before getting in the shower safely. And if you're afraid that something might happen and there's someone else at home who can help you, leave the door unlocked and let them know, I'm going to take a shower, so that if anything happens, someone can help you. This actually brings me to the third mistake, which is when people take very hot showers, lock the entire bathroom, close the door, close the window, and it turns into a sauna, right? All that excessive steam. This is dangerous for you because it will make you feel even hotter. That high humidity will make it harder for your body heat to dissipate, which increases vasodilation even more and can further contribute to a drop in blood pressure. On top of that, the whole bathroom gets humid. It actually gets wet everywhere. So when someone steps out of the shower, the bathtub, or wherever they bathe and steps outside, it's easy to slip and hit your head or break a leg. So that's another really serious issue. If you usually take hot showers, always keep the door slightly open so your bathroom doesn't turn into a sauna and put your health at risk. Another mistake that's actually trendy right now is that cold water thermal shock, with people saying, "Oh, this helps me. It makes me more alert, boosts my immunity." In other words, people take a hot shower and then finish with a cold shower, or they go straight into a cold shower first thing in the morning. This might seem very healthy, and a lot of young people do it, saying, "Oh, it improves my muscle tone, my vascular tone too. It boosts my mood." But for those with hypertension, arrhythmia, fatty plaques in the arteries, or over 60 years old, this thermal shock can be dangerous. I mentioned this to you at the beginning of the video, right? This cold water, it activates the sympathetic nervous system, releases adrenaline, and at that moment, adrenaline raises your blood pressure. This can also increase your heart rate, so it could even lead to a stroke, which is a very serious situation. So, be very careful about following internet trends. Ideally, as I mentioned, you should shower at body temperature to avoid any kind of problem. This fifth mistake is also a very common one, right? Especially for people who like to take several showers a day and say, "Oh, I want to go to sleep nice and clean," right? I sweated a lot because sometimes we sweat a lot throughout the day. Before going to bed, I want to take a shower, and people end up showering very late at night. Naturally, our blood pressure already drops when we fall asleep, right? This is what's called the nocturnal dipping phenomenon, which is physiological and normal. It's good for the heart when this blood pressure drops during the night. Now, if you take a long hot shower before bed, you're adding these two factors together: the nocturnal dipping and this excessive heat, this vasodilation that already happens. So it's complicated, especially if you also take diuretics at night or if you have heart problems, so avoid it. Ideally, you should take a shower about 2 hours before going to bed, and it should be lukewarm or even cooler if it's very hot, to avoid having your blood pressure drop even more during the night without you noticing. Tell me if you've made these mistakes, and I want to know what your showers are like. How long do you usually spend in the shower? I'd love to see your comment. Remember to like the video, it really helps me out, and share it with anyone who needs these tips, okay? Let's spread this chain of good, because that's what I want here on the channel. See you next time. Bye!